Hello one and all, and welcome back to, I guess this is FAQ part 2. Now in the most recent video before this one, I invited you all to ask questions and sort of put out there what you'd like to know. Kind of a mailbag thing that I really didn't follow on with last time. Oops. Shh. But this time, I've actually got my little list of questions that you all asked. So I'm going to pick a few and answer those, because there was actually some really fun questions in here. As you can tell, it's still pretty bleeding warm, so I've got the fan right on behind me, and I just hope I don't look too gross. So, let's get into some questions. I got my little doobly here. Okay, so Henry the Ninth asks, how do I tell the difference between a Kiwi and an Aussie? Now, I actually answered that with a comment, but it is easier to demonstrate. The biggest clue is in our vowel sounds. So, years ago, there was an Australian rugby league player who came over to New Zealand and he signed some autographs. Now, my friend's name was Vance. We, as New Zealanders, we have the more sort of English pronunciation, so his name is Vance, whereas the Aussie fella called him Vance. That's really the easiest way to tell the difference. Glass of water, that sort of thing. So, hopefully next time you're out in the wild and you think you've spotted an Aussie or a Kiwi, just ask, hey, do you want a water? What should I put that in? And if they say bottle, well, hell. Elevators here. I'm sure that's not elevator shear. Elevators here asks, aside from yourself, who are some of your favorite Warhammer or Wargaming YouTube channels? Now this one's always kind of difficult for me to answer, because I always feel like I'm leaving somebody out, but off the top of my head, okay, some channels that you should pop up into the search bar. You want to go see the Eccentric Man. He does some really awesome battle reports. He's done some really cool bolt action army, sort of, I guess flyover is the word. You want to go and see Storm of Steel Wargaming. He's recently done some videos on getting started in historical wargaming, which are really, really cool. If you're into some of the stuff that I've been doing lately, go check out, how you could get into gaming with that too. Idic Beer 40K, or IDIC, Infinite Diversity and Infinite Combinations 40K. Oh, I got that back to front. Anyway, Idic Beer 40K, go check him out. OldAverageBrit. Who else is there? My goodness. I'm going to feel terrible when I've not mentioned somebody, so I usually avoid doing that sort of thing. But those are the four that really spring to mind. Dana Howl is another. Over on Twitter, you definitely want to go and find the Lonely Havoc. Dan is an absolute legend, literally a Warhammer hobby legend. So, he's a cool guy. I could just list names for ages if I could remember them on the spot. But those are my initial thoughts, so go check them out. Now, Sophie Wiley asks, would it be possible for people to send you a single spare mini for you to paint up to get ideas from if it's one you've not done yet? And then ask a little bit more about post office box and stuff like that. I'm kind of on the fence with this one. I know I've just turned around and said, models cost money, and, but when it's, how to put it? I think there's a slightly different relationship if a company were to come to me and say, hey, would you want to do something with this? It's a little more formal. There's normally an agreement of some description. There's kind of a concrete expectation between the two parties. If a private individual, say, yourself, were to send me something, I tend to feel as though there's kind of, the onus is on me to do something with that. And I don't really want to just drag in models from all over and then not do anything with them. I've commented about my schedule. I don't always have a lot of time to do these. So, in short, I would feel bad if you sent me something and then I didn't do anything with it, or it took me ages to get to it. It's something that I have given some thought and I am still thinking about, But at the moment, I'm going to hang fire because I would rather be in a better position to do those a little more quickly. If people are sending me stuff, I'd like to be able to pretty much immediately demonstrate on those models, whatever they would be. So, short answer, not yet. Mad Max asks, what games do you prefer to play? You paint bolt action quite a bit. Is this one of your favorites? Yes, as a matter of fact. I play a lot of games. Pretty much anything that has rules available either through PDF or that I can get conveniently. I love collecting rule systems. So I play lots of stuff. Bolt action is a favorite, largely because it's a very, very simple system, to put it as plainly as possible. It is a simple system, which then plays kind of arcadey compared to some of the other games out there, but the pick up and play value of bolt action is really good. I've been playing 40k, Warhammer 40,000 and Warhammer Fantasy, and then Age of Sigmar since I was a little fella. I was 10. That's a while ago. Other games that I really like, pretty much anything in the Games Workshop stable. Bring back Battlefleet Gothic. Also, if you're looking for stuff, there is a chap, Nordic Weasel Games, on Wargame Vault, or the Wargames Vault, and I will link to his storefront in the description, who does very sort of just elegant, not simple. Simple's not the word, but they are elegant and usually very quick to pick up and run through. Now, he writes games for all sorts of things: historical, sci-fi, fantasy, post-apocalyptic, and he's one of those fellas who I just would love to see his work get some more recognition. So there's some stuff on there. In particular, 5 Parsecs from Home and Hammer of Democracy are 2 that I recommend. So I'll link Nordic Weasel in the description. That's another bunch of games that I really like. Now, John Kelly, I love John's comments. John always has something really nice to say. So, hi, John. John asks, or says rather, it would be nice to see some Kiwi armor from any period. Now, for the most part, New Zealand, we paint our stuff like the British, or at least during the period that I tend to game. If you just follow British doctrine, you can paint Kiwi stuff. And I have done some British armor on the channel already. Literally the only thing that changes ordinarily is the unit markings on the tanks. So I wish they had a slightly more exciting answer, but just so you know, it's dead simple. You just follow those methods. Brad Masado, I hope I'm getting that right, asks, why don't you use Abaddon Black? And if you had a choice between Abaddon Black or Army Painter Matte Black, which would you say is best? I would say Vallejo's Flat Black is best. The reason why I prefer at least Vallejo's over Abaddon Black and so forth, Abaddon Black, I don't know what it doesn't cover the same as Chaos Black back in the day used to. And I tend to find I have to do 2 or 3 coats in some places to get an even finish. It has a slightly more satin finish to it than I normally like on my black, unless I'm doing it as like a finish layer. Vallejo's black just covers so nicely. And another that you would probably get the best out of is Instar. Now, Instar paints, they do a range of colors. They're kind of similar. The easiest way to explain them is if you imagine how one applies contrast, but they're much more opaque. So I've had some good results with a few of their colors. I got some sort of generic military browns and greens, but their pure black is a runaway winner. So recommend Instar as well. Check them out. Now, I did get a couple of comments about the cabinets that were behind me. Unfortunately, they came out of the back. They were being thrown out of a telecom building, and they were rescued for me So if you ask me where did I get them, I don't know. Good luck finding a better cabinet. This one on my other side here, you can go to IKEA. They've normally got, this is a cupboard, I think. And you just get some glass windows on the doors. It's not ideal for display, really, but keeping some models out of cases, that's what I use that one for. Tyler Durden, which I doubt that's really Tyler Durden, but Tyler Durden asks, why do you not make videos in German language? Reason being, ich kann leider nicht so flüssig Deutsch sprechen. Ich klinge wie die Steinzeitmänner und ich finde es immer schwierig, dass ich kann nicht auf Deutsch erklären. So maybe one day when I'm a little better with the language, I can do, you know, some Servus Deutschen sort of some German language videos, but at the moment I'm not really confident enough, and I don't think I would explain myself very clearly. So if you are watching and I'm speaking English now, I think we're okay. I would like to improve my German to the point where I'd be confident doing videos in that language, but not yet. Not yet. And Carl Main asks, are your wife and kids nerds too? You managed to get to game with them. My wife is a huge nerd as well. She has an Arnor army for the Lord of the Rings, which tells you sort of how specific she is into that thing. And I don't have kids. I've seen in a few places like comments talking about me, and you know, I'm apparently a dad. I'm very surprised by this, and if you do happen to find I have kids, let me know, because I've got some birthday presents to catch up on, I tell you. But no, I've not got kids. But my lovely wife, we do play together quite a bit. She's got a Salamander's army for 40k. She's just been painting up her Sisters of Battle, the Order of the Lost Ark, because yeah, and we play together quite a bit. It's really neat having someone else in the house who is into this stuff. She's not so much into the historical side, you know, and I get that. She's not big into real conflicts, and I understand that. It's not something that I've ever sort of tried to push, but fantasy games and sci-fi stuff, it's cool to be married to another nerd. And then finally, Keltons. I hope it's Keltons and not Seltons, or I hope it's Seltons and not Keltons. I'm going to say it Keltons. Out of all the miniatures you've painted on the channel, which would you say is your favorite? Whew. Now that's a tough one. I did ask for clarification if they meant my favorite miniature that I've painted or the favorite video that I've done. And they said both. So I really liked, if I had to pick a single favorite miniature that I've painted for the channel so far, I'd probably say, let's pick your favorite child, you know? I really liked the contrast Cult of the Four-Armed Emperor, Genestealer Cultist that I did fairly recently. I picked that one as a favorite because the style is really cool. Like I wasn't sure about it at first, but seeing that really bright, lurid sort of comic book color scheme, but still managed to bring it out looking kind of grimdark, I really like that result. I'm quite proud of that. And if I were to paint an army and I had the time to do it, I'd love to do a whole army that would look like that. That would be amazing. There are, what have I got now, 126 or so videos to pick from. He's the one that stands out most recently, and I think he was cool. As well, the video itself has some really neat sort of tips on continuing on a job. So if you've done the basics of a miniature, how can you then improve on that? And I think that makes it a really good, if I may, you know, I'll toot my own horn for a second and say it's a good video. And I think there's something in there for everybody, because there's some traditional painting, a little bit of dry brushing, there's some contrast stuff. It's cool. It's a good one. and I love the miniature. And then to answer what is my favorite video that I've ever done, that one's easy. It's the it is the Astra Militarum Imperial Guardsman video. It is one of the oldest. It's one of the very, very early ones. So as far as editing and lighting and all of that sort of stuff, I have done mechanically better videos since then, but there's something about that one that stands out to me because I guess it is about as honest as you can get, I suppose is the way to put it. There are no camera tricks or anything in any of my videos, but this early one, it really had a very garage band sort of aesthetic to it. But why I like it the most is that I still get comments here on YouTube, on Twitter and Facebook, where people are saying that they have had the confidence to get into painting with that video, or they've always wanted to do an Astra Militarum army, and they've started and they're using that technique and it's working for them. People who are coming back to the hobby and saying, oh, wow, look at all this cool stuff that's come out since I've been gone, and oh, thanks for showing me how to use it. It is my favorite. I think it will always be one that's very dear to me for those reasons, because it's one that I know has helped a lot of people get the confidence to even begin painting. So it might sound a little schlocky, but that is, definitely the Astra Militarum painting video. It is my standout favorite. So that's all the questions I've got time for. The runtime on this video is probably going to be a little more impressive than I would like, but there were some really cool questions, and if you do have any more, feel free to carry on dropping them in the comments, and I will try and answer as many as I can. Some of them I can probably answer with a couple of lines, but in the future, if there are more ridiculously hot takes like this, it gives me some fodder that I can, help you guys out, answer some questions, what have you. So the forecast is for rain. I am hoping that comes soon. Wish me luck, and you all enjoy the rest of your day.